And I give the call to the Assistant Minister for Social Services and Prevention of Family Violence.
Thank you so much, Deputy Speaker. And look, I find it beyond remarkable that the opposition has put forward this matter of importance in relation to vulnerable people. I mean, the Liberal and National parties, the parties of robo-debt, the parties of work choices and healthcare cuts, the parties that introduced the harsh cashless debit card, to come here today and stand here and lecture us about it is absolutely appalling. The fact is we're delivering on the government's election commitment to abolish the cashless debit card, and we are doing that because privatised welfare does not work. That is the reality. And we have consulted extensively about abolishing the card. Now, these opposite, they didn't consult with anybody when they put more than 17,000 people on the card. Bang, they were put straight on the card. That's the reality. We are working with communities who have been devastated by the cashless debit card. They can yell as much as they want, but the fact is they force people onto privatised welfare. You know why they're yelling? You know why they're annoyed? Because they were going to roll it right out across the country. That's exactly what they intended to do. That's why they're in here today. The fact is the cashless debit card is privatised welfare, and there's something deeply, deeply wrong when private, for-profit companies control people's income support payments and they determine where they can actually spend their money. Not a government department, a private company did it. And what happened when people contacted them and said, I can't access a lot of goods. I can't have. There's no money in my account. What's going on? They got no help. They got no support because it's a private company. If you had any problems with the card, nobody was interested. Nobody would listen to you. So we know the former government spent more than $170 million on the cashless debit card program, money that would have been better used for support services in those vulnerable communities. We also have a lot of evidence that it just didn't work. We know that. In fact, we had the Australian National Audit Office just recently release its latest audit on the performance of the card, highlighting once more the lack of evidence. But we also know, because of the extensive consultation that we have done with communities, both the Social Services Minister and myself have consulted widely with the impacted communities. I have been in Bundaberg and Hervey Bay and spoken with many people there about how they've been impacted. And that includes community members, participants, service providers in Cape York as well. Listen first-hand to their community and what they want to see moving forward in terms of income management. To Western Australia, speaking with many participants and local councils as well, particularly many individuals whose lives have been devastated by being on this card. But as I say, the reason they were so angry before is they did want to roll it out right across the country. We know that was their agenda, to put more recipients upon the card. And the fact is it has devastated so many lives. So many people I've spoken to whose lives have been impacted. The card was very restrictive. It was often declined. People couldn't buy basic food or groceries. People couldn't pay their rent. They couldn't make car repayments. They couldn't buy second-hand clothes. It's had a devastating impact on individuals because they've stripped away their dignity and they have felt so stigmatised by it. In fact, I was handed a number of notes of the many consultations that we've had. People saying, I can't pay my rent because at times my landlord takes cash and it's really embarrassing. They can't pay their rent. They can't pay for things that require a BSB payment. They're judged everywhere they go. And that also you can't speak to anyone when you have a problem. But we are approaching the abolishing of the cashless debit card in a responsible way to ensure that communities and individuals are properly supported transition off the card. We will keep consulting with those, particularly also in relation to the issue of voluntary income management as well, because we have listened to people. We have listened to First Nations community leaders. We've listened to service providers, and really importantly, we've listened to participants. The fact is privatised welfare does not work. No matter how much those across keep pushing it, it does not work at all. And nothing highlights that more than the absolute disaster of the cashless debit card. And, you know, it brought people, lots of very vulnerable people, a huge amount of shame, and they were stigmatised everywhere, and they couldn't access the basic services that they need. They felt they were being punished and demonised. But these people are still pushing the benefits of it, despite the thousands of lives that they ruined because of it. And you know why? Because they're so obsessed with privatised welfare, and they're so annoyed that we stop them rolling it out across the country so they can stick and ruin more lives of vulnerable people, and we are abolishing it.
Thank you.